Teacher forbidden temptation with seductive alien student. First encounter. Dr. Marcus Thorne adjusted his datapad as students filed into the xenobiology lab aboard Station Kepler 7. The advanced seminar attracted only the most dedicated researchers, but this semester brought someone unusual. Arya Vinesh entered last, her presence immediately distinctive. Her skin held a soft blue-grey tone, and her dark hair fell in straight lines to her shoulders. She carried herself with quiet confidence as she chose a seat near the front. "Welcome to Advanced Xenobiology," Marcus began, launching into his standard introduction. "This course examines biological systems across known species." Arya's hand rose during his overview. "Dr. Thorne, how do you account for convergent evolution in silicon-based versus carbon-based life?" The question demonstrated genuine understanding. Marcus smiled professionally. "Excellent question. We'll explore that in week 3, but the short answer involves environmental pressure creating similar solutions." Throughout the lecture, Arya took meticulous notes, occasionally asking questions that revealed she'd already read far beyond the syllabus. Other students seemed intimidated by her preparation. After class, she approached his desk. "Professor, I wanted to introduce myself properly. I'm Arya Vinesh, transferring from the Zetharian Science Academy." "Your credentials are impressive," Marcus replied, reviewing her file on his screen. "Your research on extremophile adaptation is particularly noteworthy." "Thank you. I hope to continue that work here." Her expression remained serious, focused entirely on academic matters. "My office hours are posted. Feel free to discuss your research direction anytime." He kept his tone professional, as he did with all students. Arya nodded and left, already absorbed in her datapad. Marcus returned to his notes, mentally categorizing her as another talented student, nothing more. The station's protocols existed for good reason, and he'd never once considered crossing those lines. His reputation for professional integrity was well earned and carefully maintained. Growing connection. The following weeks established a pattern. Arya attended every lecture, completed assignments that exceeded expectations, and utilized office hours to discuss complex theoretical concepts. Marcus found himself looking forward to their academic debates. The Zetharian approach to genetic modification differs significantly from Earth's, Arya explained during one session, pulling up holographic models. "We view DNA as collaborative rather than competitive." Marcus leaned forward, genuinely intrigued. That philosophical difference must create fascinating practical applications. It does. Our medical interventions focus on harmony between systems. Her fingers moved through the hologram, highlighting specific sequences. Earth science tends toward targeted aggression against pathogens. Interesting observation. He made notes. "Have you considered presenting this comparative analysis at the station's research symposium?" Arya's eyes brightened, a subtle shift in her expression that indicated pleasure. "Would that be appropriate for a student?" "For a researcher of your caliber? Absolutely." Marcus pulled up the symposium guidelines. "I can sponsor your submission if you'd like." They worked together refining her proposal, their conversation flowing easily between technical details and broader implications. Marcus appreciated her perspective. It challenged his assumptions without being confrontational. "Your teaching style is very different from my previous professors," Arya commented as they finished. "You ask more questions than you answer." "The best learning happens through discovery," Marcus replied. "I'm here to guide, not dictate." She nodded thoughtfully. "That's why I requested transfer to your program specifically." Marcus felt a flicker of professional pride. "I'm glad you're here. Students like you make teaching rewarding." Other students occasionally joined their discussions, forming a small research group that met weekly. Arya integrated well, sharing Zetharian scientific literature and collaborating on joint projects. The dynamics remained entirely academic, colleagues pursuing knowledge together. Marcus mentored her as he did all promising students, offering guidance while respecting her autonomy. Their relationship existed comfortably within appropriate boundaries, built on mutual respect for each other's expertise and dedication to scientific advancement. The station crisis. The alarm cut through Marcus's sleep at 0300 hours. All personnel, emergency protocols activated. Coolant leak detected in Research Wing Delta. He dressed quickly, his mind racing. Delta Wing housed his lab, and several ongoing experiments that couldn't withstand temperature fluctuations. The corridors were empty, most students confined to their quarters per safety protocols. Marcus reached the lab to find Arya already there, carefully transferring sensitive cultures into emergency containment. "How did you get clearance?" he asked, immediately moving to help. "Research assistant credentials. These samples represent 6 months of work. I couldn't let them die." Her hands moved with practiced efficiency. They worked in synchronized silence, salvaging what they could as the temperature dropped. The emergency lighting cast everything in harsh blue tones, and their breath became visible in the cooling air. "Containment field stable," Marcus confirmed, sealing the last unit. "Everything critical is secure." Arya exhaled with relief. "Thank you for coming. I wasn't sure I could manage alone." "You were doing fine." He checked the environmental readings. "But we need to evacuate. This wing won't be habitable much longer." The corridor door wouldn't respond. Marcus tried his override codes. Nothing. "Emergency lockdown must have engaged," Arya said, checking her own device. "We're sealed in until engineering resolves the leak." Marcus contacted Station Command, receiving confirmation they'd be extracted within 3 hours once the contaminated section was isolated. He and Arya settled in his office, the only room with auxiliary heating. "Not how I planned to spend tonight," he said, offering her the warmer chair. "At least the research is safe." Arya wrapped her jacket tighter. "That's what matters." They talked to pass the time, about her homeworld, his research journey, the challenges of cross-cultural scientific collaboration. The conversation felt natural, easy. "Why did you become a teacher?" Arya asked eventually. Marcus considered. "Because discovering something new is amazing, but helping someone else make that discovery? That's transformative." Understanding reached. The rescue team arrived as promised, evacuating them to the station's medical bay for routine exposure checks. Marcus and Arya were cleared within an hour, both unharmed by the brief cold exposure. "Dr. Thorne," Arya said as they prepared to return to their quarters, "I want to thank you. Not just for tonight, but for this entire semester." "You've been an exceptional student," Marcus replied. "The gratitude should be mutual. You've challenged me to reconsider established theories." She hesitated, seeming to choose her words carefully. "When I requested transfer here, several colleagues warned me about human academic culture. They said professors might view Zetherian students as curiosities rather than equals." Marcus frowned. "That's unfortunate. You've never been anything but a respected colleague to me." "I know. That's what I wanted to acknowledge." Arya met his eyes directly. "You've treated me as a scientist first, always. That professional respect means everything." He understood what she wasn't saying, that others might have let differences become distractions, that boundaries could have blurred. That's simply how ethical mentorship works. Your species, appearance, background, none of that changes the quality of your research or your right to professional treatment. "Not all professors share that perspective," she said quietly. "Then they're failing their students and their profession." Marcus spoke firmly. "The academic relationship is built on trust. Without clear boundaries, that trust becomes impossible." Arya nodded. "My culture has similar principles, though expressed differently. We call it Kalesh, the space of respectful teaching." "I like that concept," Marcus said. "It acknowledges that education requires both connection and appropriate distance." They walked together toward the residential sections, their conversation turning to upcoming research deadlines and symposium preparations. The night's crisis had deepened their mutual respect without compromising their professional relationship. Marcus felt satisfied that he'd maintained his ethical standards even in unusual circumstances. Arya was a brilliant researcher who deserved mentorship free from complications or mixed intentions. As they parted at the corridor junction, Both understood their relationship clearly. Mentor and student, colleague and colleague, built on shared intellectual passion and maintained boundaries. Resolution. The semester concluded with Aria's symposium presentation receiving top honors. Her comparative analysis of Zetherian and Earth genetic approaches opened new collaborative research directions. Several institutions offered her advanced positions. Marcus attended her final advisory meeting with genuine pride. You've exceeded every expectation. Where are you leaning for next year? The Intersystem Biology Institute offered a research fellowship, Aria said. Working on cross-species medical applications. Perfect fit for your interests. He pulled up recommendation templates. I'll submit the strongest endorsement I can write, which, given your work, will be entirely truthful. She smiled. Your mentorship made this possible. You taught me to question assumptions while respecting evidence. You arrived with those skills already, Marcus countered. I just provided the environment for them to flourish. On graduation day, Marcus shook Aria's hand formally, as he did with all his students. I expect great things from your research. Stay in touch, as colleagues. I will, Professor. She held up her datapad. I've already drafted 3 papers for your review, if you're willing. Always happy to collaborate with fellow scientists, he replied warmly. Watching her leave station Kepler-7, Marcus reflected on the semester's lessons. He'd encountered a brilliant mind, navigated potential complications through unwavering professionalism, and helped launch a promising career. The boundaries he'd maintained protected them both, allowing pure academic connection to flourish. Other professors commented on Aria's success, some asking his secret for mentoring challenging students. Marcus's answer was simple: treat every student as a respected colleague in training. Maintain clear ethics. Focus entirely on their intellectual development. Years later, when Aria published groundbreaking research on intersystem cellular communication, she acknowledged his mentorship in her dedication. Marcus kept the published paper on his office wall, a reminder that the most meaningful teaching relationships are built on professional integrity and mutual respect. 4 lessons. 1. Professional boundaries protect both mentor and student, creating safe space for genuine intellectual growth. 2. True respect means seeing others as complete professionals first, never reducing them to their differences. 3. The most meaningful connections arise from shared purpose and maintained ethics, not from crossing inappropriate lines. 4. Mentorship's greatest reward is watching students surpass you, knowing you kept the relationship honorable throughout their journey.